This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. So Dr. Oz, who was a doctor on TV, actually real-life doctored somebody, saved a dude's life after the man collapsed and had no pulse at the Newark, New Jersey airport.
Damn.
Yeah, Dr. Oz rolled the dude over, cleared his airway, and began giving him CPR before using a defibrillator. Easy for me to say, a defibrillator.
I'm not even going to try and correct you. It sounds great to me.
Why? Geez, you're the guy. A defibrillator. There we go.
Defibrillator.
That's it. Yeah.
Defibrillator?
Yeah.
Shut up. Defibrillator. Keep kidding. Is Dr. Oz, what kind of doctor is Dr. Oz?
That's
is he a
really
doctor?
Good question. I don't know if he's a real doctor. I mean, Dr. Phil, I guess, is a doctor of psychology of some sort, right? I don't know if, you have to have what? Like a master's degree to be a doctor, outside of being a medical doctor.
Oh, yeah, he's a cardiothoracic defibrillator.
Heart surgeon?
He's a heart surgeon.
He's a heart surgeon.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he really is a doctor.
Oh, so okay.
All right, so even though he plays a doctor on
This
TV,
is not nearly as impressive as... No, I'm kidding.
No, it really isn't.
Cool.
It's like, it would be really bad if he didn't know how to save this guy's life with CPR and all that, since he's the heart guy. But he did recount what happened. He's at the airport when he was collecting his baggage.
But a gentleman had collapsed, fallen on his face. There was no pulse. And so the first thing you do when there's no pulse is you give the patient a pulse by doing CPR. So getting on top of his chest, compressing as hard as I could. So as I was doing that, I was seeing this foam coming out of his mouth, and his color was, again, horrible. So the Port Authority police had come around, thankfully. And so I had one of the gentlemen there start doing the CPR for me, and I controlled his airway.
Wow. I don't even know how to control an airway. I barely know how to do CPR.
You just got to do it to staying alive. Just boom, boom, boom. I mean, that's another one bites the dust. Damn it. But it also works.
They both work.
That's just a little bit more morbid, though.
But the airway, who's the airway job? You got to put your fingers in the mouth and do what? Just see if there's anything in there blocking them?
Yeah, see if there's anything blocking. I think to move the tongue, I believe.
Oh.
Just in case it's like blocking a...
I think just take like a pen, remove the pen part, and just stab it in their throat, and that creates a hole, right?
Oh, is that...
That or a straw, right?
I don't think you should listen to any of us.
Dude, that's for choking.
All right, well...
Don't listen to any of us, please. I don't think that's a good idea. And the airport luckily had a defibrillator, and here's Dr. Oz talking about it.
The defibrillator came in, slapped it on his chest, and so it pretty quickly figured out what I had discerned, which is there was no pulse. This man was dead, and it shocked him at the highest power possible. And it worked. And by the time I put him on the stretcher to take him to the ambulance, he didn't remember anything about what had happened.
Wow. And so really it's the defibrillator, the device that worked. It's a good thing they had one, because I guess another one bites the dust didn't do it, Steve.
Wow, though. Yeah, I mean, that's... And how about you come through and you have no idea what the hell's going on, but Dr. Oz is just hovering over you.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, if
Do you watch his show from then on out?
You have to watch his show. I mean, he saved your life, right? I mean, the least you can do.
Then you're probably the annoying guy in the family. Every time you're watching, like, what are you doing watching Dr. Oz? I'm like, he saved my life, if you don't remember.
Yeah, that's the story.
We heard the story a billion times.
Yeah, every time it's on TV at anybody's house, here goes Bob again with his Dr.
Oz.
Oz.
Dr. Phil was there, not Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Dr. Phil, he just would have berated him. You are a BAIT. You're a baby.
That is, man, I don't know what I would do if because I know you learn CPR, but you never think that you're going to have to do it. You know, and it's like, how are those instincts going to kick in? And also, my wife and I were not laughing about this, but we were just thinking about it. Like, we took all the children's CPR and all that stuff before Tatum was born, but now it's been over a year. We haven't had to thank God, haven't had to use it. So we went on YouTube to watch videos on it again, just to kind of remind ourselves and refresh ourselves on how to properly do it, because it's been so long since we've taken that class. At the time, this all makes sense. I got this. But then, fast forward a year, in a couple of months, I'm like, I don't remember what the hell we do. We pat her in the back or something? I'm not sure.
Just don't, but here's the thing. If you're giving anybody CPR, Steve, do not sing or hum Another One Bites the Dust. I just think you're really, you're sending the wrong message. Yeah, I mean,
no, the one you have to do is WAP.
Does that work too?
That works too. Apparently on TikTok, there's been a couple of medical professionals that have been doing it.
But I might get a little too aggressive on that one.
Yeah, especially if you start singing that song. That's not going to.
Someone says Dr. Oz is lying. A defib is not used when there's no pulse. It's for fixing an irregular heartbeat. Do you think he just made this all up just to get cred?
Well, I've watched television
I'm sick of
shows.
People not believing me.
They always use the defib whenever somebody's not doing anything.
Well, I believe this texter. I'm sure they're a doctor.
Okay. I don't know. I know that a lot of people have issues with Dr. Oz with some of the things he said on his show and some of the claims he's made. So I don't know. The guy, he saved somebody's life apparently. So I got to give him credit for that, but I don't know if he's right or not.
Someone says never put your fingers in someone's mouth when reviving. Airway control is by jaw thrust forward. Open. That opens the airway.
Jaw thrust forward. Thank you, Vicky.
You tilt the head back a little bit.
Oh, you guys are all poo-pooing me and my methods, and your methods were just as wrong.
Well, I never said to trust any of you idiots. I just want to be clear about this. Okay? Because Vicky's the queen of... Well,
Vicky's
I think
watching YouTube.
I'm watching videos now, because I realized I haven't done it since high school.
Yeah.
My training.
And you didn't even know anything about the jaw, Vicky.
Yeah, no, it's changed, right?
Yeah, and if it's
changed. How's it changed?
I'm
I think
kidding.
saving a person's life should be the same, right?
No, they've changed the things. Even when I went for the children's CPR thing, they said certain things. They're in the past you were told to do this, but don't do that anymore. It's actually more dangerous to do that. If you ask me what it was, I don't remember. I believe it was blowing into the mouth.
See, that's the problem with medicine. So you don't blow into the mouth anymore?
Yeah, you don't do the whole mouth-to-mouth thing.
Oh. Okay.
Don't quote me on this. Don't if someone's passed out in front of you, don't tell me. Don't be like, oh, I heard on the radio Steve said not to do this, so I didn't do it, and then he died. I don't want that kind of pressure on me, BJ.
Probably should take a CPR course.
I did. I don't remember everything.
Okay, well then, not you, but maybe our listeners should take a CPR course and not listen to any of us idiots. How about that?
Texter's right. Keep up with the CPR stuff. I've had to use it twice. You just never know when or where it comes in handy.
Well, except I'm a little worried about Steve and Vicky. I don't want them to do CPR on me because apparently they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I'm not touching you. You're not a child. I'm only qualified for children.
Okay, do
CPR.
Really take that. Don't take that out of context, people. I mean, really, he's talking about his own child as a loving parent.
Oh, any child. I'm here to help. I can save any child.
I'm trying to get you out of trouble, but apparently you get right back in it again. Yeah. All right. We got a new survey that found out that 43% of Americans would not want their family to live close enough just to pop in whenever they want.
Dude, we always have this joking conversation when the lottery gets to a certain point and you're like, oh, what would you do? And I'm like, I would buy a house on the water and then I would buy a house for your parents and my parents, but they would be at least 4 or 5 blocks away. I want them close, but we don't want next door neighbor close. You still want to have that ability to be hey, we're on our way over. So you could have maybe I got to put some pants on. I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't want just a random neighbor. I could just knock on your door whenever kind of thing.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that 6% higher than it was before the pandemic.
Well,
so actually before the pandemic, people were like, well, maybe I wouldn't mind living close to my relatives. And now they're like, okay, no. See, 6% said, yeah, I've had enough of this. I'm out. Now, 2/3 of us do wish we lived closer to our family, but like you, Steve, just not too close.
Right. Like, I want at least I want you to be able to cross a couple of streets before you can get over it. Ideally, you have to get in your car.
And who do you think out of men and women want to live, closer to their parents more? Do you think more men want to or more women want to?
Ooh. Man, I almost felt like this would be split right down the middle.
You're close. I mean, it's just a 10% point difference. 66% of men go, yeah, I do not want them living that close to me. Where 56% of women are going, yeah, about half the women are like, I really wouldn't mind my parents living closer. I know that Sarah is definitely wanting to do what your dream, Steve, but have us in the same cul-de-sac, the same neighborhood, like right next to each other, 3 houses, myself, and Kathy, and then Joey on one side, Sarah on the other. That's what she wants.
Does she want Kathy in her own house, or they actually want Kathy in the same house with you?
I'm thinking she's thinking they will be living in the same house.
Okay,
together.
I didn't know if I was like, wow, okay, I thought this was like a California thing, not just like I want to be in a different house thing.
Yeah, so she wants her parents in the one house, and then she wants Joe on one side and her on the other, I guess, or however she wants this. Now, I don't know if J-Rubs wants this, but this is what she wants.
Well, it also works out well if Sarah one day decides to bring a child into this world, to have the parents nearby.
Oh yeah,
just for hey, we'd like to go out to dinner and maybe have a break from our child. Grandma, Grandpa, you want to handle this?
Yeah, that's not what I'm looking forward to. I told my wife, I'm like, you're going to come up. If Sarah gets pregnant, you're going to find a way to be back in Seattle or something, because I am not going to be the one. There's no way that's not going to be my gig. I mean, I don't mind hanging out watching the kid, but if I can pawn him off on somebody, if I got to do it all by myself, that poor little kid, I don't know, man.
So what if Sarah and J-Rubs, they decide that they have a child while they're still living with you? What happens then?
Oh, this is going to be, this is
good, huh?
This is, I might have to get an
apartment. Uncle Joe? Uncle Joe could come by and take care of things. Uncle Joey. Like Full House.
Wow.
Cut it out.
Oh, this is my calling. I'm so in. I'm going to take him to have ice cream every day. I'm going to spoil the crap out of the kid.
I think Joe would I think he would do very well with the kid. I think he'd do much better than I would.
Well, I mean, I think my dog Lulu could do a better job than you want to do.
Normally I would disagree, but I think you're right about this. Yeah. We pretty much, people are just like, I don't know. It's fascinating that almost half the women would like to live close to their parents. That is, I don't know why that is. Whereas, more men are like, only 40% of the men are willing to do it, where the other 60% are like, but I guess, traditionally, doesn't that seem like, the dude wants to go out and make his way, and, the average woman wants to be more family oriented and be around the people that they love. It's a wild thing, like how tribal we are, like back in the Cro-Magnon days, that we're still kind of doing that as far as the average man and the average woman.
Do you think it's a make it way kind of thing, or more of just like, I just kind of want to have my own space? I want to be able to, I think about I wish my parents lived in Washington. That'd be pretty awesome to could see Tatum grow and not have to just do FaceTime and things along those lines. And maybe one day we could travel again and all see each other in person.
Do you forget your father in the car incident? Are you sure you want him that close?
Like I said, several blocks, maybe a moat and a drawbridge as well. Yeah. Because if I'm rich, I could do that kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, if you're rich, of course, you get the moat and the drawbridge.
I want them. I want my parents in Tukwila, and we're in Puyallup, so it's I'm not going to see them every day, but I could see them once a week at least.
Yeah, I think that would be. Yeah, that's about right.
And we can go home. That's the problem with visiting. It's it's always great to see my parents, but it's like Vegas. After a few days, you're just done. You want to go home. You're just worn out. You know what I mean?
When your parents are like Vegas.
But at least with this, you could see them, and then you go home that night. And it's okay, we'll miss them again in a week, as opposed to every waking moment of that week together you're spent in the home with each other,
Oh yeah, I'm with you, man. And as a parent, I'm the same way. I can't speak for, Kathy, but man, I want to be okay, see you later. I don't want to be in their lives every day of the week. I really would like to have them have their own space and me have my own space. Yeah,
which is that was been really smart hiring them onto the show so that then they're around all the time, even at work.
Yeah, that really worked out, didn't it?
Yes.
All right.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
New on Curiosity Stream. With superior armies comes superior weapons. How has innovation mechanized the battlefield? From bullets to battleships and everything in between. It's machinery of warfare. Plus, from the gross to the gourmet. See how that in-flight meal lands on your tray table. On secrets of your airline food. It's all on CuriosityStream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Want to create a lifetime of memories this spring? Do you remember the joy of jumping as a child? If only there was a way your own kids could experience that same joy safely. Spring Free Trampoline has been engineered to eliminate 90% of product-related injuries. The Spring Free design boasts no springs and a flexible enclosure and proudly offers a 10-year warranty. That's peace of mind. Lock in your ultimate backyard safe space before summer arrives. Visit springfreetrampoline.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Well, when you get into your 50s, you just get ornery. And this is what's happened to Marianne. She lived with her cousin in Florida for the last 5 years. And earlier this week, she lost it when the cousin wouldn't stop blasting the same song over and over again on a loop. And, it happened at about 12:15 in the morning on Tuesday. So I can understand, here it is, you're probably trying to get to sleep. All of a sudden, this song comes on over and over again, and it's, the classic, the 1978 disco hit, Les Freaks. And if you don't know what that song is, let me give you a little sample of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, over. And, I don't need to see everybody dancing. That's, come on now. All right.
Aww.
Steve's getting busy. Look at that. Red's getting busy.
Hell yeah.
Joey D's is getting busy. Vicky is just, rocking back and forth in the chair. She's subtly like, all right, I'll be with this.
12. I hate that song.
12:15 in the morning, over and over and over again.
I understand why she got pissed.
So it got so bad that Marianne shoved her 64-year-old cousin into the makeshift tiki bar that they'd set up.
Wait, so what's going on in this house? The 64-year-old woman is up at midnight blasting disco.
Yeah. She's got a makeshift tiki bar. She wants to party, Steve.
I think that explains everything right there.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 64-year-old cousin fell through the bar, landed face first on a speaker, and ended up with a black eye. And, of course, the cops had to come, and, Marianne was hauled away, domestic battery, and not allowed to have any contact with the cousin, which is kind of tough if that's where you live.
But what about the cousin? Is she allowed to play the song still?
I think now, here's what I think, Steve. I think that she wanted the Marianne out. I mean, you know what I mean? That's like torture. You see that in a lot of shows where they'll just play songs over and over again to some prisoner that they want to confess.
Yep. I'm going to drive this person out of my home by playing. Who was it? Was it Chic?
Les Freaks.
Was the artist? Was it like? I know it was like. Is it pronounced Chic or Chick? CHIC, right?
Well, it's probably Chic. I mean, CHIC is Chic.
Yeah, that was the name of the artist. Did they have any other songs?
I don't know.
Or was she just playing the greatest hits of Chic, and it's just that song 12 times?
Yeah, that's the greatest hit. Yeah, right there. Look, you all started dancing, when it was played, so I don't know if that gets busted out at weddings anymore. It used to, back when I got married, because, I got married in the 80s, so that was a big wedding song. People would put it out there. People start getting up on the dance floor, but I don't think anybody's using that anymore.
But yeah, dude, we heard that song for 15 seconds. I was feeling it. If that song went on any longer, I might have punched Joe.
Right. Oh, you might have punched Joe? All right. Well.
Is there a song that you can listen to over and over again and not get sick of?
Ooh. Well, lately, I don't know. It probably brings me back to my dating days, I think. And so I'm getting nostalgic, which is what happens during COVID. Modern English is I Melt With You. I repeat that a bit. Yeah. Because that was a song that I really thought of with my wife. And when we were dating, I was like, man, this song speaks to me. I just want to be with you kind of a thing. So I've kind of got nostalgic for it.
Doesn't it hum at the end? It's like,
Yeah. Love that song.
Imagine being in the studio like, hold on, I want to throw this part into the song. I'm going to just hum into the microphone.
Oh, it works though, dude.
Excuse me?
No, it does.
Yeah, it works.
See, the only thing I really think about with Melt With You is the fact that Burger King used it for a commercial some years back, like over a decade now.
They did?
Yeah, so the only time I ever, whenever I hear it, I just think about a Whopper.
That's the problem. It's like Pavlov with me. I go back and forth. I think about my wife. I think about a Whopper. Not sure which one is what I'm wanting at the
Do you
moment.
ever think about humming into a microphone?
Excuse me?
One right now, I've been like super on a big Black Crowes kick. And shout out to Ryan Castle. He recently got to interview them for like a radio.com special that's up on our website and other places as well. He talked to the two brothers, Chris and Rich Robinson, because they just did a 30-year anniversary remastered version of their first album. And the first song off of that record, Twice as Hard, when that opening riff starts, I've been guilty of times after the song finished, I just skip back because I want to hear it again.
Yeah, I can't blame you, dude. That's a good song.
Oh, just the whole record. It's just straight. And it's weird because like I typically don't like remastered albums. I'm like, I like it the way that it was done, but I really dig the remastered version of this record. I still love the original version, and it's not much of a difference. It's just a little bit, but it kind of adds a little bit more beef to it, and it just sounds great.
Let's see if you go back to the original, because I'm that way about my TV shows when they remaster them and they go, you know what, the CGI or whatever that wasn't existent, the special effects weren't that good. And I always was like you. It's like, I want both versions because I want to go. And you know what? I have never gone back to the original version. I'm like, oh, it looks so much better. And I wonder if you're going to have that same thing. Like I have some remastered Beatles stuff. I totally like the remastered better than what it originally sounded like.
Well, one I know for sure, and I just recently did it. I was like, I want to listen to 10. Like, obviously we hear those songs a lot, but I just wanted to listen to it as a full experience from beginning to end. And when I put up Apple Music, originally the first thing they give you is the Brendan O'Brien remixed version or the remastered remixed version. I was like, no, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just, it did not sound like what I wanted it to sound like. So I made it a point. I had to search and grab the original mastered version of Alive, the way that it was originally put out, because I like that way better.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, you got the ear for it. See, I don't know sometimes I don't know if I can tell the difference, and I feel like such an idiot. It's like wine. I go, really? There's a difference to that? And you go, yeah, how can you not hear that?
I've been guilty of that on some things. We're like, it's remastered. Check out how different it is. I'm like, I'm not that big of a fan of this artist, so it sounds exactly the same to me, but cool. I'm happy you dig it.
Rev, is there a song that you're like, okay, when it comes on, I'm going to play it again?
Orgy.
No, it's not Orgy this time, but I do enjoy Orgy a lot. Actually, this is kind of like almost the polar opposite away from that, and it's Shiny Happy People by REM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always fast forward through, I skipped that song.
And I know that they hated the song and it didn't work with the album that it came out on, and I understand all that, but watching the video and hearing the music, it puts me in a good mood, and I love the song so much.
Dude, you should. I don't know if you've done it yet. There's I think it's called Song Exploder. It's a docuseries on Netflix, and they do Losing My Religion by REM, but they talk about Shiny Happy People and how how that song just didn't really fit, but they it's a really cool, it's about a half hour long, but it's a great little piece about that REM, that era of REM.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
All right, Vic, how about you?
Lately for me it's definitely been The Pot by Tool. I don't know why.
Can't go wrong with that song.
That's so good.
I love it, and it's part of my car karaoke routine. Like I always, especially if I'm really tired and I want to, wake up a little bit, I'll start singing it, and I will play it over and over and over again. And I'm just glad nobody else is in the car because they would hate me.
See, I have debates from some of my friends that are big Tool fans, and I feel like that record, because that's on 10,000 Days.
I think so.
And that to me is their best record. And I always have these
Ooh, shots fired for a lot of Tool fans.
Well, some people they're like, what are you talking about? That's not their best record. I'm like, from beginning to end, I feel like that record, there's some songs that maybe are better on other records, but I think just as a total piece, I enjoy that one.
All right.
Yeah, and again, it's how do you argue anything? I mean, I really like what Tool puts out. I like Fear Inoculum. I mean, I think it's kind of a crazy argument to have, because you're right. 10,000 Days is a good album, and I guess I like that a little better than Fear Inoculum, but I really liked Fear Inoculum. And but you know how it is, man. If something comes out, you freeze. You just freeze in that point in time, and that's always going to be the best of whatever it is, no matter what the band does in the future.
Oh yeah, and that's not to say that the other stuff is bad. It's just like it's like every song I'm like, yes. You know, you can just enjoy the entire record. It's pretty badass. Somebody brought up Metallica, Battery. And they also said, did you catch them performing that song on Colbert? It just did, dude. It's going to make you feel old. But Master of Puppets, their record, I think it's a 30-year anniversary or 35-year anniversary.
I think it's I think
35-year anniversary.
Yeah, 35. We forget Metallica's been around for a long time. I don't feel so old anymore because I already had my feel old Metallica moment, like probably 10 years ago. And, but it's surely, when you hear 35, dude, we'll be looking at each other going, can you believe it's 40? That's going to come up on us quick.
Well, yeah, it means Kill 'Em All came out a few years before that. And, oh man, yeah, they're getting old. Actually,
I know,
we're
and
getting old. We're all getting old.
There we go.
It's so bizarre, but I mean, I look at the Rolling Stones, and they're the perfect example of look, it can be done. You can be really, really old and still relevant.
Yeah, but the songs that the Rolling Stones wrote, I think Charlie Watt, the drummer, he can play those forever because they're not anything crazy. Like I look at Lars, and he sounded great. I give him credit. The whole band sounded great on Colbert. I watched their performance. I really enjoyed it. But there's going to come a point where he's not going to be able to do double bass without possibly breaking his hip.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're absolutely right. Charlie doesn't really put a lot of effort behind the kit.
It's a different style of music. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, but see, on the other hand, nobody gets as crazy as Mick does on stage, which I thought for sure he would have broken a hip by now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but you make a good point, Steve. Some of those guys, it's like, okay, where they go, I remember they used to pump oxygen on the Grateful Dead stage because, man, those dudes needed it at the time.
The Sabbath guys too, when they would towards the end of when they were doing their stuff, they would pop off to the side of stage with oxygen tanks.
Yeah,
a lot of those old rockers have to do that.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, that's a hell of a workout. And, when you're in your 60s and 70s, that's why with Mick, I don't know what they're giving him. It's nuts.
Dude, how about Kill 'Em All, Metallica's debut record came out in 1983. So in a couple of years, we're going to be celebrating the 40-year anniversary of that.
Wow. That's old.
How do we hit pause on time?
How do we hit pause
Once you find out,
time?
let me know, Steve, because I'd love to figure that one out.
Oh, you guys would like to figure that out? Maybe someone should figure it out over here first, okay? You two guys. We're in our 40s. I don't know how we're going to make it. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Thanks, both of you geniuses.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's another question from a listener. I'm getting my wages garnished. Can bankruptcy help with that?
Absolutely. One of the big reasons people file bankruptcy is because they have a judgment or a lawsuit against them, or their wages are getting garnished, and so they can't pay their other regular ongoing bills. People sometimes think that you can't file bankruptcy once they have a judgment against them or once a garnishment has started, and that's not true. Filing bankruptcy will immediately stop any garnishment that you have going, except for child support, and stop your creditors from continuing on with garnishments of your bank account, your wages, and in most cases will discharge that liability through the bankruptcy process. And we can file a bankruptcy case for you usually the day you come in.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
New on Curiosity Stream. Are we close to building machines that are almost human? And can new technology give us superpowers? Find out on Super Sapiens. And in 1919, a British composer wrote the longest and most complex symphony in history. Conductors tried to perform it, but failed, declaring it cursed. Now a group of musicians will attempt the impossible, if they dare, on Curse of a Gothic Symphony. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.